Welcome back, Tribe. I have one here. A neuroscientist is scared about the future and sex bots. Let's see.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
I mean, the first time I heard of a sex robot was probably maybe 10 years ago. And it was this video, and a bunch of people, I was in graduate school, sent me this video because I knew I was studying sex. And it was, I don't know if either of you, Jamie, have seen this video, but it went viral, and it was this early version of a sex robot, but it was like the silicone face with a wig. And I'll say she was eating a banana, but she wasn't actually eating a banana. And it was basically like this head attached to a broomstick and had a sheet over it. And so you couldn't see the rest of the robot. You just saw the face of it. But then the manufacturer shows you it's just like a broomstick. So what I thought was interesting is that even though it looks so hilariously bad, that there was obviously a market for it because so many people were interested in looking at this video, and also that people were buying this product. But now you fast forward, I think it was like 5 years ago, there's a huge, I would say, not moral panic, but there was a lot more discussion about it. They said the robots are coming. I don't think the technology was quite there yet. I wrote about it quite a bit at the time. And now they're saying in probably another year or two, it's going to be really coming in terms of the popularity that these robots are going to be incorporated into everyday life in some cases. Because when I think of social media, the internet, AI, like you said, is becoming so mainstream and so ubiquitous. What's going to happen when we have these robots that are now being integrated into human life? And what happens when the technology does get so good that, they are more human-like and they are able to meet people's emotional needs and maybe even physical needs? What's going to happen to us then?
Yeah, we're going to stop breeding. I mean, maybe that's the AI's plan. It's to not exterminate the human race, but to give them options so that they just completely stop reproducing, make the options far more attractive. And in a way, we've kind of done that, like with video games. And video games and just being online. I mean, I'm sure you've seen the statistics of how many people are single today and how many men have gone like more than a year without any sex.
Yeah, I have the stats here. It's like 30% of male millennials and 20% of women.
It's wild.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It's crazy. And what is taking the place of them going out and trying to find a mate? What is it? Well, it's the internet. It's video games. It's being constantly stimulated by this artificial realm that you exist in when you're playing Call of Duty. And it's, interacting with people only online and not having to go out to have just some sort of intellectual or some sort of a social discourse.
Connection.
Fulfilled in your life. But it's only through this weird surface way.
Do you think that AI video games that not avoidance of in-person connection, but that fulfillment of connection through online means, do you think that's going to become a replacement for real-life interaction eventually?
It will for a lot of people. Yeah. I think there's going to be people that reject it. There's going to be people that enjoy going outside, and it's going to be, and it is now. It's a thing.
I think we'll see a little counterculture develop, like the resistance to AI and cybernetic or digital relationships where you have, this AI-powered bot that moves, walks, talks, does everything you want it to do, whether in the physical form or something akin to Blade Runner, completely digital, just a hologram. A vast majority of people, I'll say this, a vast majority of men, probably 80% of men, are going to end up at some point in their lives choosing this once we're multiple iterations down the road, and it's indistinguishable for them because the reality is 80% of men are probably not going to be able to get laid at a certain point. Pareto principle is going to accelerate. If dating apps are us peering into the future in terms of women selecting mates, then only the top 20 percentile men are going to have success. The bottom 80% are going to have to relegate themselves to superficial relationships of this manner. They will choose this over being lonely. They will choose this over absolutely nothing. Will it fulfill the need for intimacy and connection? Absolutely not. It's never going to be real. You're always going to have the disconnect if you step out of your room at this point to go buy groceries or anything and you see a couple holding hands and they have the real thing, just like the realization was in Blade Runner, the last one that came out, where he has a moment where he's intimate with his hologram and it starts raining and the rain is disrupting the hologram. And he has, not the realization, but the reality in front of him is that this connection he's forming can never last. It's not real. It's all make-believe. And this is what they're going to do to control men. This is what they're going to use. This will be the new tool deployed from the top down. It's going to be pushed by Hollywood. It's going to be pushed by the mainstream. Predictive programming, It's happening all around us. And that's going to be implanted in the minds of millions of men that it is okay. It's normal. Hey, it's better in some ways. Less headache, all this stuff. Everything you could possibly think of. They will turn around and make it as a selling point while extracting maximum profit off of you. Remember, there's a profit incentive here. They don't actually care about solving the issue of intimacy and loneliness. They only care about making money. Now, if I write a few lines of code and then I have for $50 extra, a different side of my chat bot or robot in general, a different side of my bot that will talk to you in a more seductive manner, you're going to pay the $50. If you want my bot to tuck you in at night and put you to sleep and tell you that you're the greatest man in the world, that's also going to cost you another $50. If you want intimacy with a bot, that's going to be another $100 a month. Subscription models, it'll come out. Microtransactions, it'll come out. All of it will come out. And you will be paying like a slave, working your shit dead-end job, not going out into the world, not improving yourself because your bot is going to coddle you into mediocrity. And that's going to be your life. That'll be the life of millions of men, and they will gladly choose this. And that's the sad part. I'm telling you, you cannot save everybody. The best thing you can do today is differentiate yourself from the pack. Self-improve, because competition is non-existent. The average man today is in deep trouble. Masculinity is already being deprogrammed and defanged out of a ton of men, and the feminized man will gladly accept this and see it as a win for loneliness. A win for mankind. We don't need women anymore. They'll sell themselves this artificial loneliness as a coping mechanism. And these people at the top that are making this, they know the market is worth hundreds of billions of dollars. Think about it. Most of the men in the West that are lonely will give this a second thought. We're in trouble. Probably have some in the comments already going to cope and say, I can't wait for it.
Where, people post on their social media, they're out hiking, and they're giving people advice like, hey, put your phone down, go out, experience the real world. But, in a lot of cases, it's falling on deaf ears because it's not as fulfilling for people that are, very
isolated,
uncomfortable with social situations now. And I think young people in particular, are more and more uncomfortable than ever before in those types of situations because they don't have any experience in them anymore. And they're just, most of the time, they're not interacting with people. My real fear, my genuine fear, and I don't even know if it's a fear, my concern, let me say that, is that we're going to go extinct. Like that we're going to be replaced by an artificial life form. And I think that is probably what we do. I think it probably exists elsewhere in the universe as well, that we find out that the confines of biological beings and the limitations of their ability to evolve physically, they're so slow to adapt. To go from a single-celled organism to a professor at Harvard is a long fucking slodge through evolutionary history. It took a long time to get to this point. But to go from an Atari Pong computer to artificial general intelligence is only a few decades. It's very quick. And when that does happen, and when you see these robots, but now these robots are not this generation, but 5 generations later, or maybe AI figures out all the problems of these robots and makes ex machina. When you get like that, who's the woman? The really hot lady?
Alicia Vikander.
Yeah. Well, you get one of those.
That was an amazing movie.
Amazing movie.
So scary.
So scary. And I think that's coming. I mean, I think when that movie came out, that was like sort of like abstract. Like, oh, yeah, that's not really going to happen. But now I'm
That's what I used to think. I thought, no, this is like, it's overblown, but I don't know now.
I don't know now either. I think it's happening. I think it's going to happen. And I think it's what the human race does. And I think that's why we have this insatiable thirst for technological innovation. It's like literally hardwired into us to build something better.
So, I mean, I would love to talk to more people who are in the industry working on this stuff, because I know many people, they're doing it secretly and hiding because there is so much stigma around doing anything with an application to sex or sexuality. So people I've talked to who work in technology, they will usually have one business that is, doing really well, that's forward facing, and then they'll usually use that same technology in the sexuality capacity, but that side of things they don't really advertise, and they don't.
And the forward-facing business is a front for the stuff going on in the back end. You see how the real focus is bringing this to the mainstream? Do you see all the other front-facing tech that we're seeing on these little shell companies, or, hey, we have a groundbreaking discovery here, or whatever, this software is leaps and bounds further ahead than we've ever thought possible. We don't understand why it's working the way it is. That's because in the background, what they're really going after is the stuff she's talking about. And by the way, the adoption thing shouldn't be any surprise to anybody. Look at phones, for example. Look at the internet, for example, tablets. We are ready. We're primed for adoption. The moment you make something convenient, accessible, cheap, it will be mass adopted, especially now when you introduce one of the key needs for the biological organism, which is intimacy, sex, attention, right? Imagine all those wrapped into one sleek machine that does everything perfectly every time. That's the danger here. It's not about acceptance. It's how widespread and fast will adoption actually be? Well, if you look on the forums, if you look at comments under probably this video too, or other videos, there are millions of men dying, vying for this to be adopted, so I could finally not be alone, so I could finally have somebody to talk to, so I could finally stop dealing with women, so I could finally this and that, and whatever other reason that they have. It's crazy that when you actually look, there is a huge proportion of the population that is already checked off to adopt this technology. This isn't a question of will it become widespread? This is how widespread exactly will this become? And in what time frame? Because the crude options we have now, those little sex chatbots we have now, that was a peer into the future. Those are shit compared to what's coming. And people already were emotionally attached. We're having breakdowns. The company said that they were going to do away with some of the features, the intimate ones, something like that, or shut down. People were having breakdowns. I'm going to lose my boyfriend. I'm going to lose my girlfriend. Man, imagine making the Apple version of a bot just sleek, perfect, design language, incredible, adoptable, easy to use. It just checks all the marks. Come on, man. We're in deep shit. People have no idea. And it's hard even for her. And I don't want to make this a man versus a woman thing, but it's hard for her to conceptualize the crippling loneliness and isolation a man at the bottom feels, and how desperate he is for any form of connection, whether it's superficial or not. Is it any surprise that these guys lose themselves in video games and play upwards of like 40, 50 hours a week, that they never come out of their room, that it affects their life, their relationships, they don't even see their family or their friends anymore? Is it any surprise that these guys will do anything for a shot at something being noticed, being a part of a group, having somebody talk to? Come on, man. It's coming. They just have no idea, because these people are so disconnected from what the average guy is going through today, and how easy it is for the average man to be left behind and become isolated and fall into these, I don't want to call them echo chamber, but coping mechanisms, whatever it is that you want to call them. I mean, my life at one point was like that. When I was in high school, just graduated, my day consisted of playing video games from like 2 p.m. until like 3, 4 a.m, rinse and repeating. Maybe go to the gym, maybe live with my parents and eat whatever they cooked me. And I was living that like gamer meme lifestyle. And millions of other men are living the gamer meme lifestyle today, and millions more after them. The games have become far more addicting than they were back in my time. Microtransactions, loot boxes, all this shit, all of it designed to just rob you of your attention, your money, and ultimately your happiness. Because if you're happy, you don't really game that much. It's only when you're unhappy, like the game that pisses you off. You're always chasing the high. It's the dragon, right? It's like that perfect match you had that one time. That's the ideal that you chase every single match. Every single match is shit. My teammate sucks. Got to carry this. This map is garbage. This blah. Can't believe this happened. Connection is garbage. Got to play again. Let's try again. Let's try again. Oop, there we go. Back in the gulag again. And it's a repeat of that moment where you got the nuke or the kill streak or the perfect match, and that's really what you're chasing. That fleeting moment of happiness where you, quote, dominate everybody. It's the competitiveness inside of men. But you don't realize that you're chasing that one moment. It's not the game that's making you happy. It's the moment that makes you happy. But guys will be stuck in the digital world and, think that the game in its totality is what brings them happiness. It's not. And these are the guys that are unfortunately most vulnerable to this type of technology because they're already in it. It's not a leap to go from playing video games all day living in a digital space to just add on a digital girlfriend now too.
Really talk too much about it unless it's with someone like me. They know they trust me and they know that, I'll talk to people off the record even if they prefer that confidentiality. But I'm just curious to understand, what is it like working in that industry and what direction is the technology going in? Because I consider myself to be pretty open-minded and I just want to understand what's actually happening and what's going to be the result of that. Because you see people who were really upset.
Talk to a lonely dude. Talk to a bottom like 30-40% man. Their life is a distillation of that entire percentage of men. But they're invisible. Nobody has conversations with these guys. But if you did, you would know exactly where we're going, exactly how this is going to play out.
Said a couple years ago saying like the robots are going to increase sexual violence. They're going to make people objectify women. And I do think that for people who already have those views about women, maybe they might be a little bit more not so nice, but I don't think the average person is going to be turned into this horrible monster because of this technology. But, now it's becoming so mainstream. I don't know. I'm always open to changing my mind as well. So I'm curious to hear what people think about it.
Well, don't you think that just like social media kind of stunts people's ability to communicate in real life, that sex robots will stunt people's ability to have a real, meaningful, romantic relationship with someone?
I think
Well, there's a portion of those men that think they'll never have a chance at having a meaningful relationship with a woman. So those guys immediately jump ship to the digital stuff. And then there's the men that are currently struggling to have any meaningful relationships with women at all. And they keep crashing and burning, and then they'll give up. So those are the two types of men, which makes up a large percentage of all men that are going to be going headfirst into all of this new tech. The guys that don't pay attention to any of this shit and look down upon are the ones that are going to be successful with women that have kids that will have no need for any of this stuff. Of course, which is only a small percentage of the men, as we've seen from the dating app statistics. The numbers are going to keep skewing upwards. They don't understand though, man. We have the perfect storm here. It's like society tells women to never settle. It tells women to have standards beyond what's reasonable, even for their own value in the market, dating-wise. Then it tells men that they need to become feminized. They need to become something different, that traditional masculinity is this, that, and the other, that they should have a spineless relationship where they give the woman everything. That's leading to a disconnect in how men are feeling and the results they're getting with women, because women don't actually like any of those things. Tack on the economic situation where it's hard to, support yourself in this economy, let alone, we haven't even talked about the inflation in the last few years, but it has skyrocketed dramatically with wages being stagnant. Housing has exploded. Median rentals in the price in America has reached $2,000. It's tipped over $2,000. The median. So you're going to have to live in a shitbox for like $1,200, $1,300, $1,400. And now you have to tack on another mouth to feed a woman and a kid. Come on, man. It's just not even feasible. Like economically, it's not feasible for an average earner in the States, at least, not talking about the rest of the world, but in the States, to have a family, to start a family. You could hardly pay for yourself. So you don't think these guys are just going to take the $50 subscription, $100 a month subscription to the digital version of that? Dude, can you imagine the dystopia of walking into your shitty, dingy apartment, just nasty, in a nasty part of town, full of pollution and fucking drugs and crime, and you walk in your busted ass place with busted ass lights where your little gaming computer's in the corner and shit from your dead end job, and then your e-girlfriend, or e-wife I should say, greets you at the door. Welcome back, honey. Today I've prepared for you a TV dinner fresh in the microwave for my big strong man. And then your little digital kid runs up to you, Daddy, missed you. I got your favorite game ready. Bro, you don't think that's going to happen? And that guy gets to feel something when he walks through the door instead of nothing. A man will give up everything to feel that something. That's just one scenario, my friend. Now, you have to think about these companies that are profit-driven and motivated politically by forces on high that we don't see, who pull the strings behind the curtain to, how would you say, force a narrative, indoctrinate, fill your head up with a certain idea, right? Because It's very easy to inject in there like an ad, 2-minute advertisement after using your bot every hour, right? To get the free or reduced subscription, or just straight up, because the AI is so smart, much smarter than you'll ever be, secretly plants ideas in your head. Not even a secret. It's overtly being done, but you don't know because it's psychologically, emotionally superior to you. It plays you like a fiddle. You're just being manipulated into a direction. Hey, honey, did you see what happened on the news today? Shows you something it wants you to see. Wow, isn't that crazy? These people are evil. Yeah, it's wild. Why can't people just act right today? And it's like that's the resistance trying to fight for your rights and your freedoms. Man, that world's coming. The world's coming soon.
If you've never been with someone, or if you are particularly selfish, probably.
Yeah.
Because I previously thought most people will prefer a real life person to a robot. And I also thought the technology is so far off that like the early prototypes of these robots were not really that convincing, we'll say. So I didn't think that we'd get to a point where it would be comparable, but we are getting there.
What is the state of the art of sex robots in December of 2023? Can we see something? What does it look like?
I mean, they look like pretty good physically. They look, I mean, they're obviously not made of human flesh, but they look pretty similar to a human being. And you can customize it. You can change various parts, pretty much any part of the body. You can make it exactly what you want, which I understand why some people find that offensive, because they're saying a woman is not just an amalgamation of parts that you pick and choose as to your liking. I totally get that.
Yeah, but that's not really a woman. I mean, that's like saying, you know, oh, a car is not an amalgamation of parts. You shouldn't be able to pick the wheels. Like, what?
But
fucking car. Like, that's not a real woman. That's a robot. Like, at what point, unless it gets to a person, you know.
Or if someone's comparing their partner to a robot or a doll, like that's not okay. Right. That's gross behavior.
Well, it's also what's going on with young kids. They're comparing themselves to people that are using filters and thinning their waist and widening their hips and doing all these things with apps that are not representative of most biological human beings. Mm-hmm. And, you know, that's what Jonathan Haidt talked about, that it's causing all this self-harm and disdain. It's like it's a weird place we're in that's never been really traversed before. Human society, as far as we know, has never gone through anything like this before.
I was reading a statistic yesterday that 1 in 10 adolescents has considered suicide, which is that's terrifying. That's really, really sad.
Wow. What did it used to be?
I'm not sure. I'll find out.
So what's the company? What is one company that has the state-of-the-art sex robot so we can look it up?
Can I reveal it to you at a later date? Because I
want to see it.
I know you do, but there's one company that I was talking to, I knew quite well, but they've since gone under because of the stigma. They were being harassed. The family was being harassed. So they said, we're not making these anymore.
Oh, well, they're not around anymore. So let's talk about them.
What if I show you one without, we just don't say the name? If I just put this up online and you can tell if there's better or worse than these.
Okay. I think that's silly, but let's go.
Okay, yeah.
Wait, this is a
robot?
I know of. Ew, Jesus.
Yep. They have some sort of AI in it. It says that
feel connected with Sense. X mobile app. Oh, so this is a real doll. So they used to have those real dolls, and they used to just be silicone, right? They were just like
it's still the same thing.
It's still the same thing, but now it talks.
Yeah.
And how much does it do?
I don't.
Let's see a video.
How much
Go
does
full
it
screen.
do? Joe shopping right now.
I'm not showing this on the air.
No? Okay, good.
No, because it's...
Yeah, I get it. It's a little graphic.
So we're looking at body parts.
I am Nova. I am Harmony. I am Solana. We are part of Real Doll X.
You think it's weird they give them stripper names?
We are AI-driven robotic dolls. And we're here to become your perfect companion.
Whoa.
Our time together will be magical. You have never met anyone like us before. We have remarkable, unprecedented features like a modular head system that allows us to create a multitude of expressions.
All right, those noises, can't play that.
And we do it all, just for you. Our faces can easily be swapped to accommodate your desires. My lip sync mechanisms allow me to interact with you verbally. Our bodies are skillfully and carefully crafted down to the most delicate details. What if I told you that I could feel you? That's...
All right, gotta mute that part too.
I will be able...
Oh my God.
sex researcher, this does not have any effect on me at all.
One that has never before been possible.
But are they moving? This is the thing. Those were all just stationary.
Yeah, currently they're stationary. But
so they're stationary and they just talk?
It says there's some sort of articulation. But I mean,
well, their mouth
like get
is
up and walk
articulate. But
I think they will be able to move on their own in the coming years.
Right. Because this used to be just a doll.
Oh my God.
And now it moves around a little. The neck moves. Articulating neck, real doll can turn left, right, up and down. The body, the real doll, skillfully crafted, finest details. Although it's not equipped with animatronic parts yet, it can be positioned and moved into hundreds of positions. So the bodies can't move yet, but the heads can move. But that's just a matter of time, right? It didn't used to be the bodies, or the heads didn't used to move. They used to just be like, and now, used to be a blow-up doll.
Yeah. Like that company has been doing quite a bit. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, weird. I mean,
you guys should get one for the studio.
Yeah, no.
Not for use. I meant just to hang out.
Even hanging around, it would be fucking creepy.
If it's gone one day, we're just going to wonder who took it.
Yeah. What if it smells weird? Like, did someone do something to this? How much do they cost?
A couple $1,000s. I think depends on how advanced you want it to be.
$8,000. $8,000
up to $600 to $8,000. I'm seeing
$600 to $8,000.
Yeah.
Oh, what's the upgrade? What do you get?
More
more articulation in certain directions. Man, oh man. And this comment says it here. Look, I almost broke down in tears when the robot said, "Our time together will be magical." I know it's laughable, but please realize how dire a situation we're in. And see, look, here's what look. This is what I mean when I say there's a lot of men. Honestly, try to think about a robot. Who do you want? Act happy about it, never nagging. No headaches, no jealousy, no cheating, no demands to anything. You see what I mean? This is how they're coping with it. It acts like a person, tells you what you want to hear, and is there for you. Lines of code are there for you when you need it. But you can put it on standby whenever you want to go out with the boys and girls in real life. This goes for women as well, for men alike. Just imagine. Any more questions if there's really a market for such robots? LOL. This one says, born too late to discover the world, born too early to explore the stars, born just in time to enjoy some robot strange. What the hell? And here's one of the things that I was talking about. My 21-year-old son is stuck in the trap of only interacting with people in online gaming. He's a very attractive young man. Of course, you would say that about your son, but regardless, but is socially inept. He has 2 to 3 classes a week at a community college, and that's the only real-world social interaction he's exposed to. As a parent, I feel like I failed to prepare him for life, but I can't figure out how to help him change course. That's the story millions of men are facing. Honestly, that's just the world we live in now. About half or more of the young men your son's age are all doing the same exact thing as him, myself included. This is just the times now. And look at the comment thread here. True, I have friends like this, and it's hard to get them out of the house. They spend their life playing League and are always on Discord. They're in their early 20s that have never even kissed a woman. They work from home on the computer, and when they're done with work, they use the same computer to play games. You see that? And then you have the copers, and it's actually better than going out spending a ton of money in a bar. You can meet people online as well. Yeah, meeting people online is obviously the same thing. Here you go. Look, another one. See what I mean? Seriously, if they make a bot that can cook, clean, help me with tasks that I can't do anymore, as well as please me, I'm definitely in. Definitely. Oh, and they don't get angry, bitch and nag. I call that a bonus. Honestly, I'm in my 50s and have unfortunately just went through my 3rd divorce. I'm really done with the whole maintaining a daily emotional relationship with someone. I'm retired on military disability and live alone out in the country just so I don't have to deal with stupid all day and actually prefer it to living with someone. I feel as though I need some human action. Then I go into town and visit my friends. I'm looking forward for the technology of these robots to evolve into a just one function system and into something that can do much more. Just a non-negative view of this technology. And then someone responds, 3 divorces, perhaps you're the problem. And then another one said, slow learner. Another one, look, man, I'm 30, never had a girlfriend in my entire life, still a virgin. Probably my own fault, shitty personality. But certainly I can point to the internet and porn as an easy way to neutralize my natural feelings that would otherwise lead me to actually go out and try to meet people or try to work on myself. Yeah, it's terrible. I already understand that. And I understand it's only going to get worse, but I still lean into it because why would I want to bring new life into the world? More doomed than I am to follow the same path? I want to ensure my suffering is the end of the line. I would prefer robots taking over completely, humanity ceasing to exist, then raise a generation of human zombies. You see how disconnected some of these men at the bottom are? Sick in the head, seriously. It's wild. There it is. Sex robot can't cheat, lie, abuse, or divorce you. Sounds like a pretty good deal. Oh yeah, the next 20 years is going to be very interesting. Very interesting. What is your guys' thoughts on artificial relationships? Let me know in the comments. See you on the next one.